Come on in the building tonight. Y'all saw the topic. I told you I was going to try to do some research on it in the little time I had between coming out here and leaving work this afternoon. So I took some of my time while riding the bus to do a little reading and watch a few videos so we could come out here and discuss the 2023 Lewiston shootings. Give y'all a few minutes, Ms.V. just sitting down to eat. So this is a very informal discussion. Feel free to come into the chat, drop your comments, let me know how you feel about it. One of my students' mother made me pupusas tonight, Mexican food. That's one of my favorites. This is vegan. I've never had it before. I just took a bite out of it. It is very good, y'all. It has, okay, let me see. Can I show it to you? Okay. Oh, I got to take the phone out of the holster to show it to you. Hold on. I think, yeah, I do. Get the phone out and turn it around, and then you can see it. It is vegan. Hold your horses. There it is. I took a bite out of it. It's bell peppers, potatoes, and it looks like some type of sauce is on it. But she made me 3 different kinds, and it is delicious. Yes, it is. I need to wipe my stand back off. One second. Something on it. Okay. Y'all come on in. Let's talk about it. While I feed my face. I haven't eaten since early this morning. Hold on. Myra just texted me. Okay. So Myra's in the back. She's doing something, but she's in here, y'all. When Tagistic comes in, she was looking for Myra. She just texted me. She's in here. Okay? And then I have a drink I've never had before. I told you I'm out here trying new stuff. National origin Italian fruits. Okay? I've never had these fruits. The drink is decent. That's all I can say about it. I didn't read the calories. 120 calories per 1 can. Ooh, it's got a lot of carbs that's coming from the fruit. And it's got sugar in it, y'all. Probably shouldn't be drinking this. Added sugar is 46%. No protein. That just messed me up when I read that. But anyway, it is what it is. Now I just have to burn it off. So hello to all my little sugar woogers coming in tonight. Let's see who was in the building thus far. I have Sherry, Sunshine Chronicles. Hey, niece, how you doing? You here, ma'am? Sherry always tells me I'm in the building, Ms.V. Hey, Alex, glad you caught alive. Much love to you also, Alex. Hey, Deborah Silver. Sherry say, enjoy your dinner while we talk. Okay. Well, I want to get off into this commentary because I didn't know anything about it. I think it was you, Alex, that asked me today, Miss V, did you know anything about the mass shootings? I was stunned. I didn't know anything, y'all. Nothing whatsoever. I hadn't watched any news. Basically, going to work, come home, fix something, eat, take a shower, go to bed, wake up, same routine next day. But I took about an hour and a half and watched as many videos as I could. And there was also supposed to be a press conference this afternoon, which I have not watched, at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to give you what I found, and then y'all can comment in the chat on what you know about it, or if you watched the news conference this afternoon. So this is all about the 2023 Lewiston shootings that occurred this week. We know now that at least 18 people were killed in Maine in the shootings. On the evening of October the 25th, 2023, a spree of shootings occurred at a bowling alley and a restaurant. 18 people were killed and 13 others were injured in a double mass shooting. The state's medical examiner said that they ranged in age from 14 to 70 plus. This week's mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine, was the nation's deadliest of the year. Again, 18 people were killed in the attacks on a local bowling alley and a bar, and 13 injured. The suspect, we now know his name, and most of the victims have been identified. I will not call their names in respect for the family over here at Chatting with Ms.V, because some of the victims that were shot have not been identified yet, and I believe there were 10 of them as of my findings this afternoon. The suspect's name is Robert Card, C-A-R-D. He's 40 years old. He's still at large unless he has been found since I started this live 6 minutes ago, after he allegedly opened fire at the just-in-time recreation bowling alley and a Schminger's bar and grill on Wednesday. The Maine Department of Public Safety publicly released the names and ages and photos of the victims at a press conference Friday evening. That would have been this evening, okay? I am not going to show it on my live. If you want to go look at it, everybody can Google it and go out and see the pictures of the people. I don't know them, so I see no purpose of me posting their pictures or even calling their names on my live. Before then, some families had publicly shared the news they had found, taking it to social media to update their friends and their neighbors on an unimaginable reality now setting in. This story will continue to be updated as information becomes available. But here is what we know so far. Police are searching the never near place where the Maine shooting suspect's car was found. A man was killed at the bowling alley while trying to rush the gunman, according to a Facebook post shared by his father, who carries the same name. A close friend of this first person I just mentioned was a victim also, who was killed at the bowling alley, according to the post the father posted. They made sure their wives and their children, very young children, were undercover as they charged the shooter. So I want to stop right there. This is where I think it really shouldn't have happened, but it did. They obviously thought they could take him down and overcome this guy, not knowing anything about him and that he was military trained. Okay? Another victim worked at a pipe fitter, as a pipe fitter at a local ironworks. A local machinist union shared this information. There was also a woman who was an accomplished athlete, a volunteer, and on the day of her death, a hero, her mother told NPR. Another victim was 75 years old, said to have had two daughters who were 57. One was shot as the other one tried to go for help. This bowling alley was the only one in Lewiston. A husband and a wife, husband being 76, wife 73, was also a dedicated volunteer, a coach for a youth bowling league, was killed while trying to save others around him. His wife was also shot. It did not say if she was killed or not, but she was also shot at the bowling alley. A 44-year-old and his 14-year-old son were there for a youth league that night and was able to give a lot of information to the authorities. There were many other victims ranging in the ages of 55, 36, 35, 45, 34, 41, 57, 42, 48, and 64. A lot of these people had come out that night because they were having a bowling league tournament with the children. So there were plenty of kids around at this time. A shelter in place was ordered and also a manhunt for the shooter as it continues. Robert Quard is still at large. Late Thursday, warrants were executed on the possible hiding locations. Hundreds of officers are on the lookout across central Maine. A press conference was to be held this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What we know about Robert Quard so far, this is the information I was able to dig up on him. We know that the shootings took place at a bowling alley where a children's league was taking place and a local bar and restaurant, officials have said. He had a semi-automatic rifle at one of the locations. He is identified as a 40-year-old U.S. Army reservist. The Army has confirmed. Authorities found the suspect's white Subaru at a location in Lisbon, several miles southeast of Lewiston, on late Wednesday and recovered a firearm from the vehicle. Multiple law enforcement have told this to ABC News. Authorities are testing the gun to determine if it was involved in the shootings, which they probably know now, whether it has been or not. The abandoned car was a crucial piece of evidence in allowing police to focus on Quard. Multiple law enforcement officials also told ABC News. Investigators found a note at Quard's home on Thursday, addressed to his son. Law enforcement stated this also. The sources described it as a suicide note that contained his information about his bank account and his personal information and all bank account details. Quard's family is cooperating with authorities. Quard's sister told investigators she thought that he might be looking for his ex-girlfriend at the shooting locations. There's many avenues of investigations going on as they are trying to identify if this began because of an altercation they may have had or what really caused this problem. They seem to think at this point that it might be domestic dispute. Card was previously married. His ex-wife filed for divorce, irreconcilable differences, which was granted to her in 2007. And they shared custody of the couple's minor child. Court document shows this. The divorce order was amended in 2013 to include shared parental rights and responsibilities of the child whose primary resident lies with his mother. The suspect appears to have interacted with conspiratorial content online, information that has been provided to law enforcement. Some of his topics of conversation online has been where he has engaged and not limited to concerns about our financial crisis here in America, the stock market, the LGBTQ plus issues, gun rights, and community commentary about the Democratic public officials, including President Joe Biden, and the information shows this. His likes between January and March included posts about classified documents found at Biden's home, calls to the IRS that it should be abolished, allegations of Democrats engaging in election fraud in 2020, which tells me he's probably Republican, and conspiratorial evidence that he had about the COVID-19 virus. All information gathered shows this. The investigators are digging into, among other things, the suspect shooter's writings and history of his psychiatric problems. So now we already know that there were some mental issues involved here. Card has been a reservist since December 2002. His current rank in the Army is a sergeant first class, and his job is a petroleum supply specialist. He's nobody's dummy. Okay? He has no combat deployments. A U.S. Defense Department official stated to ABC that Card was behaving erratically while deployed over the summer with his Army Reserve unit to Camp Smith Training Center in upstate New York to support summer training for West Point cadets. He was in the 304th Infantry, informed garrison staff at the training site about his behavior on July 17th, that just passed this summer. The Defense Department states, out of concern for his safety, the unit requested that law enforcement be contacted, the official stated. New York State Police responded and transported Card to Keller Army Community Hospital, the United States Military Academy, for medical evaluation. So far, the Army has not dropped the ball. His behavior was suspect. They called the New York State Police. They came in, took him into the hospital for mental evaluation. Card allegedly threatened other soldiers with violence and was command directed to go to the hospital for an evaluation, according to a source briefed with direct knowledge of this incident, as reported by ABC. New York State Police has stationed armed troops at the entrance gate. Hold on. Okay. Where he was located at the 334th Infantry. There is no potential motive at this time that they know of. Investigators are still on the job, but are looking deeply into his medical and mental health when asked during a press conference on Thursday about his background and gun possession. There's still an active search for the suspect in question at this time. Card is considered armed and extremely dangerous. Police advise that Maine people, the people of Maine, should not approach him. The first two guys that were killed approached him. They're no longer with us. So under no circumstances should the people of Maine approach him. And this is according to the governor, Janet Mills, who stated this during a news briefing. I give credit to ABC News' Josh McCauley, Aaron McCarthy, and Luke Barr for this information that I am reporting tonight. So let me get into my chat and see one other thing. Let me tell you this. Card's Military Service Awards. He's very decorated as a soldier. He holds an Army Achievement Medal, an Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and Army Service Ribbon. So I guess it's safe to say he is a decorated soldier. An arrest warrant has been issued on 8 counts of murder for the victims who have been identified so far. The arrest warrant will be identified when the other 10 victims are identified. That's my commentary and my research that I found tonight on Mr. Carr. Let me get into my chat, speak to everybody, and see what y'all have to say here. Okay, Alex is saying, hello, Ms.V. Hello, Queen. Much love to you. Same to you. Hi, Deborah Silver. Okay. Y'all know I always fix dinner, and then I come out here and I start talking, and I can't eat and talk at the same time. I try, but I take a bite, I chew it real fast, and then I get back in the chat, because whatever topic we're talking about, I get so involved in it. Not knowing a thing about this until I came out with my morning chat, and then it was like, oh, I got to find out what's really going on here. So that is how much I found out just tonight about him. Most of the information I've given you is giving you some details about who he is, or who we thought he was. Alex says, it was me, Ms.V. I thought so, driving and listening. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Trucker's wife is in the building. Thank you for coming in, modding. Thank you also, Myra, who's in the bushes tonight, for modding. Hello, everyone in the chat is coming from Trucker's wife. Please hit the like button on your way in. Ring that doorbell. Ms.V. will answer. I sure will. Come on in the building. Hey, hey, hey. Come on in. Caller, I'm cool at wife. I'm not sure what that is, caller. Okay. Sabrina, Thoughts of Love is in the building also tonight. So sad. Good evening, Ms.V. and chat. It's very sad for the people across the United States of America, because he's representing our military as a sergeant, first class. Okay. Sabrina speaking to everybody. People are losing their minds and all regards for human life. that old man unalive that 6-year old boy and injured his mother. It's just one thing after another. I just don't think people even care anything about their life, much less anybody else's life anymore. They put themselves in such horrible situations that could be avoided by just remaining silent or walking away. It's not necessary. And a lot of verbal abuse is causing a lot of pain to a lot of families and people, neighbors who are being left behind to suffer the grief of all of this. Their minds been gone long ago. I agree, Sabrina. Hi, Marissa. How you doing? Be encouraged with Marissa 617 is here tonight. Hello, Mama V. How you doing? Marissa, glad you came over and visited with us tonight. Alex says, a trucker's wife, Sabrina, thoughts, and Carla. Hello, Queens. All righty. Ms.V, they're not going to fix the problem with guns. No, that is a major problem. Those who, are all about the Second Amendment and gun rights or whatever, they're not going to agree with this. But it's a major problem here in America. And I agree that they are not going to fix the problem with guns because the guns have fallen into the wrong hands. And too many young people out there are packing guns. And then there are open carry states like the one I live in. I believe Florida may be another open carry state. Stand your ground state. I know that for a fact because that's when the news years back came up when Trayvon Martin was killed. One source stated 22 died. Wow. The shooting occurred at 2 locations. That's what I got, Alex. What I read was 18, but it was probably some more that died after I read this report because I didn't have time to read 2 or 3 of them. I wanted to go and read what CNN was saying also. I wished Auntie Mimi was in the chat because she lives in Maine and she could probably tell us more about what the locals are saying versus the news. And she may come in. Heaven says, hey, how you doing, Heaven? Welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. Sunshine Chronicles, this is so sad. I pray no one else is harmed and he is caught. Now, one report I read, Sunshine, said in his words that he will take himself out, unalive himself by committing suicide before he is caught. That's where his mind is. Please hit the like button on your way in. Thank you. I appreciate that. Deborah Silver, good evening, trucker's wife. He will definitely attack again in his state of mind. Yes, Sunshine, because he's gone. He's deranged. Yes, I mean, nothing matters at this point. If he didn't stop to think that he had a minor child that was living with his ex-wife and enough respect for this child not to have to be ridiculed, and kids are horrible these days. They always have been very open and very honest. This kid's got to go to school. She's carrying his last name. Lots of people across the state now are going to know who she is, or he is. It didn't say whether it was a boy or a girl. So let me clarify that. It just came across the TV that he was dead. He said he would take himself out before he was caught. And they were getting too close upon him anyway because he left everything behind. He left the suicide note behind, Deborah. He ditched the car by a river with a gun in it. So he was being sloppy. He didn't want to live after that and suffer the consequences thereof and the embarrassment and the humiliation. Ms.V. ATW is my name, abbreviated. Okay. Deborah Silver is speaking to you, Carla. Alex, Deborah, really? When? It probably did just come on because there was supposed to be a news conference at 5. And that probably was a special report, I'm guessing, huh, Deborah? Okay, well, at least we know he won't take anybody else out. He took himself out. Um, but a Tundra man's politics have nothing to do with his little massacre. Man's politics have nothing. You're right. I agree. Uh, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Baba Tanda. Tundi. Hey, Auntie Mimi, they found him dead. Okay, that's what was just said, Auntie. And I don't want to see anybody unalive themselves or die, but he did some horrible things while he was here. So I don't have any feelings about it one way or the other. I mean, he's better off, probably, in my opinion. Alexander, hi, how are you doing? The local said he was known as someone to stay away from. Yeah, that's what I just read. And I was telling them that the local, y'all's governor made that announcement was to stay away from him. Period. Do not come in contact with him because the first two people who tried to take him down at the bowling alley, they had no idea he was military trained and he was deranged and mind just gone, blown. Alex said, Auntie Mimi Wow found him dead where? Auntie says he was found dead 8 miles away at the place of work he was hired from the day before. Really? Self-inflicted gunshots. That's exactly what he said. He'd take himself out before he was captured. So he did what he said he was going to do. So he was hired at a place the day before and he was found there? So did he kill himself at the job? He was found dead 8 miles away at the place of work he was hired from the day before. Self-inflicted gunshot. Thank you for sharing that with us, Auntie. Deborah Silva is speaking to me. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? Baba Tundi, he was clearly suffering psychosis. He wasn't thinking about the consequences. He was having auditory hallucinations. Okay. Alex, wow, Auntie Mimi, thank you for the information. Any motives stated besides the ex-girlfriend? No, that's all I found, Alex. Excuse me. Blue Chew is in the building. He was fired the day before from this job that Auntie was talking about. Blue True. Okay. He was found shot at the place he was fired from the day before. Okay, y'all are saying the same thing. Okay. Hey, Sue K, good evening to you. And happy Friday to you as well. Sherry says, Ms.V, here in Houston, Texas, we have a cold front on next week, Monday through Thursday. Yes, supposed to be down in the 40s. I'm ready. I'm sick of the heat. I am so ready. Cold and rainy and windy on Monday. I think I saw where the rain is going to come in on Sunday and then cold. But how long is it going to last? Now, you know this weather here, Sherry, how it can hot, cold, lukewarm, hot, cold. It's all over the place. It's bipolar. Cold for Halloween next week will be cold and windy. That's fine with me. Maybe the kids will stay at home and we don't have to worry about them being hurt out there with the crazies because they out there and they like to come out at this time of year. He was hearing voices threatening to blow up the base. That's why they had, I guess, the people out there, the military protecting it. They kept him for 2 weeks for a mental evaluation. I think they dropped the ball. That does not seem long enough. And then if you found out anything in the mental evaluation, why would you turn him loose so fast? Yeah, that's too quick. He should have been still there. And then maybe we wouldn't be talking about this tonight in the manner we have to talk about it in. So many people losing their lives, families grieving, coming up to the holidays, and children at the bowling alley saw this and will, even though they may have been undercover, they heard the shots. They heard everything going on. They'll see it over and over for years to come. It's all over social media. they're going to need therapy. They're youngsters. They're small. Ms.V, it seems people lose their mind when they lose their jobs. Yeah, it does. As if there are not more jobs out there. And this was a very smart man. He was nobody's fool. He could have gotten another job doing something else. Let me hit the chat button. Okay. So I don't quite understand that, trucker's wife. Why would you get so upset about losing that job? You're military trained. The government will hire you doing something, okay? Um, Even the topics that he was talking about on social media were all controversial topics. We're all concerned about everything that he was stating, but are we going to go out there and kill up all these people just because? How is that going to help the situation? If you're a mental facility and you're taking meds, seemingly getting better, cooperating and passing the questions, they can't hold you as an adult. Even if you military, um, reservist, ain't he? You have to be showing risk of suicide. Well, he did. Maybe they didn't see it. Or maybe he wasn't showing it at the time. He was mentally ill, definitely. Blue True. Sherry says, Auntie Mimi, is it cold in Maine? I'm sure it is. If it's going to get that cold down here, because it's coming in, I believe I read through Canada, up where Tajista is. That's the northerner that's blowing through, coming this way. Highly favored, how are you? Nature of the beast. Welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. Auntie Mimi, maybe he got better while under care, then all of those months passed and a bunch of triggers set him off, possibly. If his mental status was off, he at least should have been in there 30 days. I would think so. Especially being Army trained. Um, Look at the weapon he was packing. It was a semi-automatic weapon. Okay? So he meant to take folks out. When you get that type of weapon, and then he didn't care about the children because he knew that these kids were having a bowling league tournament there, and a bunch of parents were there with their children. So he just didn't care about nothing or nobody. He didn't care that he had a small minor child. In Cali, they hold them 30 days. Okay, that's good to know, but it should be 30 days everywhere. It seems impossible. 2 weeks, that's 14 days that you can evaluate somebody in 14 days and know what they're going to do or where their mind is. That just don't sound right to me. 2 weeks is no kind of time for evaluation, not mentally. Maybe physically, you can diagnose in a day or two, but mentally, no. And you know we don't have the health care that we need for mental health here in the United States. We're lagging so far behind. Even probably with the evaluations is outdated. I would think. To even think you can do that in 2 weeks' time, it's got to be outdated. 2 weeks, a person can appear okay when they are not. Exactly. And can fool you pretty good. He's a sharp person. He's a sharp individual. And those type of people can fool you. They can outthink you, for one thing. They're smarter normally than you are. And I'm sure he knew something was wrong for him to be even addressing those subjects that he was addressing out here on social media. That's nothing that needs to be addressed out here. The President of the United States, the IRS, none of that. Okay. Alex is saying facts, trucker's wife, they dropped the ball big time. I agree with you, Alex. So, that is, I guess, the breaking news on this live tonight is now we don't have to worry about him hurting or killing up anybody else because he's taken himself out. And that's not a bad thing in this case. Okay? Auntie Mimi, I worked in crisis assessment. There's a list of questions. They don't always tell the truth. That stands to reason. Mindset changes when there's an underlying illness or depression or PTSD. Trauma is the root cause of illness. Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. That makes a lot of sense to me. Carla, when I dealt with elderly residents that were bipolar, etc., they kept them no earlier than 30 days for med changes. And that's another good point, Carla, because you're not going to keep them that medication after several days. You know whether it's kicked in and whether it's working or not. Mental medication has to be changed more frequently than physical medication. Okay? Mental health professionals are understaffed, underpaid. The resources are, unless you have a boatload of money to go get fancy help. It's sad. And I just said that the mental health sector here in the United States is lagging. It's very far behind some other countries. You don't hear about this. I mean, I'm sure they have it. They have mentally ill people all over the world, but not as much as here in the United States. Ms.V, he was also allowed to keep his weapons after the mental evaluation. That's crazy to me. Yes. Why would you want to let this person, and you see something is wrong with him, keep a weapon that did destroy many lives? I've seen people go through cycles of depression, some weeks in the gutter, other weeks function and fine. That's scary. In Europe, it's even worse because they stigmatize mental illness. I think in some places I've read, people are afraid to be mentally ill because of their laws are not like lock you up in an institution, lock you up in jail or whatever. I mean, they physically cut off body parts for crimes and mental illness. They don't really care whether you are mental ill when you did the crime. You're going to serve time by whatever it is, whether they take your head off, behead you, your hand, your fingers, whatever. Yep. Right. That don't make sense. Not at all to me, Suke. Not at all. Okay. Let's see. So that basically sums up. We don't even have to come back out and report on this anymore. What we can do now is pray for the families of the victims that were injured and killed in this massive shooting in Maine. It's kind of ironic that I had just said last night or night before last when I did the report on violence in America with handguns and guns, that Maine was one of the states that was not a part of all of the shootings. And then 2 nights later, this happened. You just never know. It was premeditated murder. Exactly. He knew what he was doing. Yeah. When he went to that bowling alley, he knew who was going to be there. He took what he had to take in order to take people out. He shot to kill. My husband said Maine is a pretty quiet place. That's coming from Trucker's wife. He should know. And Auntie Mimi lives in Maine, and she was saying basically the same thing, that nothing like this had occurred before, never a mass shooting of this caliber. So I guess it's just the times again that we're living in. People are just, I don't know if it's because of financial stress with him. It seems that job played a big role in this. The lack of the job or being fired, whatever happened to him, was going to cost him money. But he was dealing with a lot of social issues that was really none of his business. He couldn't straighten them out. He couldn't do anything about it. We all could sit here and talk about it all night long, but what good would it do? We're not capable. We're not in that position. So we might as well let it go. Gmo fan, unless you're in a Stephen King book laughing. I'm not sure what that comment is, Gmo, but I'm going to let it ride. Auntie Mimi, you have rights as U.S. citizens. Our founding fathers created 2A to protect you against foreign invasion and government takeover. Everyone here carries weapons. Never has this ever happened before, okay? Okay, there it is. Suitcase said, Lord, please give the families and the strength and comfort in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. Very nice, Suitcase. Coming up to the holidays, that's just not good. We've been talking about depression and anxiety and the kids. Please keep those kids in prayer that were there at the bowling alley getting ready to bowl in a league. They're young kids. They're not even, some of them are not teenagers yet. Okay? Maine is a nice place indeed, very quiet. They say in that town they leave their car and home doors unlocked. He just happened to be there. I don't even know if he's from Maine. I didn't find where he was born and raised even. Just went there and probably gave the state a bad name. Auntie Mimi, we also own a lake house in New Hampshire, where there are also 0 shootings and people there carry even more. It seems that there are less. You know, I talked to y'all about Texas being an open carry state. And it seems like once that law was passed here, we don't have as many shootings as we had before the law was passed. Now, I haven't looked up the statistics. That's just the way it appears to me, that people are dying more of other tragedies, car accidents, cancers, organ failures, more so than gun violence. Yeah, we have it, but you got to consider the number of people per capita here too. It's not that bad if you look at the amount of people here. Stephen King is an author from Maine. What did he say though? I know Stephen King, unless you're in a Stephen King book. That's what I didn't understand. What that fragment was. It wasn't a complete sentence. Okay. Maine, okay, no, I was past that. Okay, I'm trying to get back to where I was. All his books take place in Maine. I'm sorry, bad joke. Yeah, Gmo, it's really, I'm not in a joking mood right now, but I get what you're saying. I just feel so sad for the people who lost their lives and their families at this time, and the children who survived it, who will live with that for the rest of their lives. Okay. Um, I love all Stephen's movies. He wrote the best movies. Yeah, I like his movies also, Trucker's Wife. I've never locked my door at any of my Maine or New Hampshire houses. He is from Lewiston, Maine. Yes. Um, Presley Perkins, hi, God bless you and God loves you. Thank you. You always tell me that when you come into the chat. I appreciate that. Francisca, hello. Welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. Trevor, good evening. How are you? Is American as bad as everyone says it is? It depends on what you're talking about as bad. As bad as compared to what? What's bad in America? I mean, it's like any other country. People come here, they live, they eat, they work, they survive. Be a little more explicit. Okay. Trevor, stop reading and watching what news propaganda tell you and come visit the greatest nation. There it is. Auntie Mimi just told you. Suke, mental health is real. Lord, heal anyone dealing with mental health illness and the families. Amen to that. Okay, Trevor, Auntie Mimi. Or I was just asking. But we didn't understand. You say, is it as bad as people say it is? What's bad? That's what I guess we're trying to find out. What were you told? Uh, Son Strand, can you say happy birthday, Joe? I can, but why should I when we're not talking about Joe? Okay. Um, Alex, it's funny. My mom was raised in a small town in the South. She moved up north and now she is back down south. She is scared now. She locked all the doors. They be yelling at her. I was just talking to one of my childhood friends last week, and she was telling me how my small hometown, I think I told y'all about that the other night, have murders just like big cities now. And I don't recall one murder growing up there. Not one that I can recall. Mm-mm. Alex, I've never locked my car in 20 years, but when we're in Virginia Beach, I do. Hey, Manifest, good evening to you. Mods and chat, hope that your day has been pleasant and productive. It was. And this is the weekend, so I can let work go now. I promise y'all, it's so safe. The only thing to be afraid, jumped on me, of here is deer, moose crossing. I believe you. I've never seen anything in the news about Maine, hitting the national news or whatever. Uh-uh. Hi, Eric. How are you? Welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. Trucker's Wife is speaking to you, Manifest. Also, Carla is speaking to you also. So that within itself was great commentary. I'm glad you came into the chat, Auntie Mimi, and let us know, along with someone else came in and told us also that he had taken his life and we no longer have to lay down tonight worrying about him killing up any more people. It's a bad way out, but for his sake, it's probably the better way because either way it went, he was probably going to end up getting killed anyway because of his mind. His mind was completely blown. I see the recent updates now per what minister has spoken on. Yes. Okay. So I'm coming up on my hour. I'm getting ready to get off of here and eat my food. And I'm going to tell y'all about this. I'm going to cut a quarter out of one, a quarter out of another, and be able to tell you. I think one is chicken, this one is vegan, and the other one must be beef. But the taste of it is so good. She said next week she was going to fix enchiladas for us. And she has a restaurant. So I'm going to have to start visiting her restaurant, but not too often because Mexican food can put that little round belly on you. You know what I mean? With all that bread and all that. But it is very good, y'all. So good night to everybody. Jesus loves you. Thank you, Justice. I appreciate that. And welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. Good night, Trucker's Wife. Good night, Manifest. Glad you were able to come in. Please catch the replay for me. Okay. Y'all are telling each other, enjoy your night, Queen. Trucker's Wife, Justice Irish. She's laughing. So, like, share, subscribe. Thank y'all for coming in and hitting that like button for me tonight. I've enjoyed talking to you. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Excellent topic. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you, ma'am. You're so welcome. Hey, I love you all. Okay, thank you, Justice. Hit the subscribe button if you love us so much over here. I just heard that this man was found dead. Yes, and that midway by commentary, Auntie and someone else came in and said that he had unalived himself. I figured that's how they would find him. Such a tragedy. Yes, it was. But let's keep the families of all those victims in prayers, even though we don't know them by name, we've never met them or whatever. Just send up a little prayer tonight for the families of the victims. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a great evening. Love you much. Bye bye.